I say we get in the game. It's time for the next best of 5 to begin. It's Gale Force going up against Frontline as day 1, week 1 continues for the European region of RLCS Season 4. With the commentary, we got Shogun and Lawler. Take it away, guys.
Wow, that was painful.
It hurt a little, or a lot.
It did. He's not in this game. I don't want to make that pun either. But yes, we are going to have our second European game happening right now. Gale Force eSports, a new team recently formed against Frontline. Another new team recently formed. Who are your players to look out for in this series?
I mean, anybody on Gale Force, doesn't matter who. They're all insane. To me, like, they have, out of the top 5 players in the world, they have pretty much 3 of them. And they're all on the same team, and they're all dominating, and it's not fair. The problem they had in this offseason at all their lands was they kept taking second. Obviously, they brought the twos mentality into the Universal Open. They won it. But we still haven't seen them perform as 3 able to take that top spot, and that's pretty much what they're fighting. Can they break their own curse?
Yep, and on the side of Frontlines, it's going to be hard not to say Bluey. Bluey is one of our newer players. I think he's only attempted to try and actually get into the RLCS once.
Correct.
He has got plenty of experience, especially at lands. Twice Insomnia champion, got 2nd place against Scrub Killer and the rest of the Diffuse kids, or the Diffuse boys, whatever they call themselves. Team Diffused, trying to go against what Bluey's team was at the time of Team Infused. So yeah, I'm going to be looking out for him. He likes ceilings, he likes walls, he likes the bullet on the floor. He just likes having the ball.
He showed last week in their qualifiers just how good he can be, but this is a whole different story against a team of much higher caliber. Should be interesting.
Certainly will be. Individual play can only take you so far in the RLCS. As it is now going to be Gale Force versus Frontline. Coming out high for both of these squads as Bluey tries to get himself a double tap to start off this game. Who will begin their season in the perfect fashion? Bluey and the rest of Frontline try and make it them by having the majority of this opening possession, continuing to put pressure forward. Something that you'll see a lot from higher up EU teams is the siege style. Rotations can be very, very clean, although that is going to be an attempt at just completely countering it. Got to be careful around Gale Force, able to shoot from anywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, a lot different from last season with Gale Force. Was Pashy and the boys, very defensive team that just kind of sat back and waited for an opportunity, and then they counterattacked with 3. Much different now with Turbo and K-Dop on the squad.
Trying to put that one in. There's Turbo Pulsar, opening goal for him. So many of the players out there right now, whenever I ask them, say Turbo Pulsar, #1 player in EU.
Hard to disagree. #1 player in the world, for that matter, in my opinion. Because of simple touches like that, able to read it up the wall and then just follow it down. Someone on this Frontline team, especially on defense, needs to challenge that. Otherwise, Turbo's going to keep getting away with it.
Put down all the way to the side by Turbo Pulsar. Chaussette can try and take over. There are other things happening on this matchup. We've got players that were on the same team last season taking each other on. Turbo Pulsar will try and put himself in for his 2nd goal. An opportunity now for K-Dop to try and run on. Try to look for a pass, or at least try and keep it away from the oncoming challenge. Chaussette doesn't get a touch that he wanted. And has to be pushed over to the side. Such fast pace from both these teams. So they try and continue to put pressure on. But Violent Panda and Chaussette, same team last season, find themselves on opposite ends for this starting game. Good to see that they've both managed to land on their feet. There is a passing infield play by Bluey. Looks to go for the middle. Anywhere else on that goal, I think that goes in.
That save by Violent Panda, showing exactly what he does. He just fills in wherever they need him. Even if it is that last rotation, a crucial save for him to keep them up by 1.
Chaussette will now take over. Gets himself a block, going to allow Gale Force to recuperate. As you see Gale Force actually all moving as far back as possible. K-Dop picks himself up the save. Now down to the other end of the pitch. Turbo Pulsar, he's got himself time. Looks to try and go for the flick out. K-Dop finds himself too close to the ball to do anything with it. End-to-end gameplay so far. But Gale Force still the only team with a goal.
Halfway through the match in this best of 5. Still mostly Gale Force, which is what we expected. Just their aggression, their play style, seemingly difficult to compete against.
Those backboard shots very rarely being followed up. A lot of respect from both these squads. Turbo Pulsar now coming in but gets blocked by Chaussette. Now Bluey's going to go up onto the wall, gets challenged early. Something that we didn't see too much during their qualifying game last week. Bluey just wants to keep that ball passing along. But because it didn't come out too far, going to be very difficult for Frontline to do anything with it. Now another long ball. Almost want to see them control it a little bit more. These long balls, both teams have got themselves into the mindset of looking for them, so they are not working anymore. But for Gale Force, if that's the story, they'll be very happy with it. They can continue to hold on to this 1-goal lead that they've now had for quite a while.
Just seems any time Frontline gets on this offensive side, they do have the pass plays. You saw one just a little bit ago. Played back inside, but the shot forced way too quickly. They need to slow it down, control the pace a little bit because they're playing into Gale Force's hands.
Passing over to the side, Chaussette was not ready for it. Now Violent Panda can take over. He'll look to try and go for the setup, but instead gets beat to the ball by Ferrer. Had himself a breakout season last season, but Violent Panda comes in, reads the pass ever so well. 2-0 to Gale Force.
Just because he's the one that normally sets it up doesn't mean he can't knock him down. A beautiful pass inside from K-Dop. And then an ever so slight touch from Violent Panda across net. Good placement.
So 1 minute for Frontline to try and find something. Whilst the midfield challenges have been good so far, they've struggled to put anything dangerous towards the Gale Force net. But what a bump! Oh my goodness, you think you've got a save? I'm sorry, my friend, you've only got my car hitting yours.
Perfect example of what to do. Not an option. Bluey's going to get up in the air and bump him out of the way. You even see Chaussette dropping a no way, does not believe it himself. Team play coming out from Frontline to put them back within one.
How well have you got to read the game to recognize I can get up there and I can bump someone away? That's hard enough to do on the floor for a lot of players. Any sort of movement usually throws them off. And Bluey just does it because he wants to.
You said he likes to be anywhere on the pitch, whether it be touching the ball or otherwise.
Yeah, I was relating that to the ball. I didn't mean players.
He does it all, man. He does it all. And for a kid that's only 15, like, unbelievable. These young ones, man.
So now 20 seconds remaining. Frontline have got themselves a chance, but they do need to take control of the ball. Gale Force will be happy to try and lead them into their own half. A lovely shot there. Blocked by Chaussette, who read the play ever so well, but that's not what they need. One more opportunity for Frontline, but they cannot get control of the ball. Double commit might offer some chances, but K-Op did land in a good position, and Gale Force, despite the late goal from Bluey, will take game number 1.
To sneak away with it there as well towards the end. Frontline started to wake up just a little bit, able to come out a little bit more aggressive, but surprisingly, their only goal off of that Bluey bump is unbelievable. We get to see it again here in just a second, but still, like,
No, I'm going to do it to you this time. Just appreciate it. Do it again.
I like the reverse. I like the, wait for it.
That's nice.
Throwback to yesterday, but still, like you said, to have the ability to read it, because the angle that he came from wasn't just like horizontal and in. Like, he actually aerialed like he was going for the shot, but instead he's like, yeah, I'm not going to get to that in time. So he takes him out completely, and then it just allows it that lofted hit from Chaussette. A full clear again. And that's something that Frontline has done significantly in this match already, is they're not afraid to clear the ball downfield and then have someone there to help it out. The only issue is as soon as they get that initial pass play certified, it falls apart. It's immediately back on their own end.
It's actually something that they've relied on too much, is those long balls. Now Gale Force are just holding themselves on that halfway line, ready for any of them, putting them back in. Saw it a lot during last season's grand finals, actually, where we kind of realized teams are now too good at their rotation. You can't play it long anymore. You have to start putting something together. And that creativity is what makes championship teams. So, game number 2. After a very solid game number 1 for Gale Force. Only scored on, not because of their mistake, but because Bluey is an absolute monster. That's going to be going straight down. A chance for Chaussette. He does take control of the ball. He's now got Ferrer moving in, and Chaussette stayed too close to it. It's pulled everyone out. Ferrer is now out of position and now forced to rotate back. K-Dop taking his time, using the wide angles to get it past Bluey. But an opportunity there for Frontline does go amiss.
Still Bluey able to get another touch on that. Buys a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter. K-Dop and the rest of this team will move down so fast. Oh, I was expecting Violent Panda to possibly go for a fake there.
Fake for a pop. I didn't expect him to go straight shot. A lot of early challenges from both of these teams. Two players committed, but they did get it into the corner. Violent Panda will be happy to see that, and then followed up by Turbo Pulsar. Everyone on Gale Force hitting that half boost range, and now with all of this play, they're going to be hitting very close to 0. Okay, we're happy to try and take that one over on his side. And when you start to get pressured like this, it's so crucial. But then again, when Bluey can hit angles like that, doesn't matter. You don't need to pull too many defenders out.
Well, you see what happens for this team. One contest after another in that corner, just not allowing this Gale Force team to clear it out. That pressure finally paying off for them. Even though they weren't able to get the most clean touch or a pass, just overwhelming pressure is enough. And then a beautiful angle coming out from Frontline.
So 1-0 for Frontline. Take their first lead. Now can they convert? Violent Panda looks to play that one long, but Bluey is on the back rotation. He's actually left it, going to allow the shot. Will he be left to regret that? Almost is, and he is going to. Sloppy defense from Frontline, and they have given it up quick.
Something, again, they have trouble with. Once they obtain this lead, they have a hard time after that goal reset. Sloppy defense is not enough to actually explain that, as two players just making huge mistakes, allowing Gale Force back into it easily.
Let's take the memory of that defense and put it in the trash. Let's hope that we do not see any of that ever again from Frontline. They are capable of much better than that, and they will have to be capable of better than that if they do want to take wins against Gale Force. It's Farah pushing it all the way down. That's going to go to the other side of Gale Force after that poor first touch. Frontline can have an opportunity to try and build. They did very well from this position last time, picking up the opening goal. Seems like Gale Force are happy to try and play around with this, whilst Frontline did have the pressure, struggling to do anything with it. Farah plays it long, and actually look to try and get a second touch. K-Dop, more than capable of stuff like that. Now going to be the follow-up from Frontline. Back to end-to-end gameplay, looking a lot more like game number 1. That's going to be a miss, but Bluey does not have the boost to get a strong enough touch. Now Chaucet's getting back with 0 boost. We're happy to see Farah, but the touch was not strong enough. Lines it up for Turbo Pulsar.
Yeah, very minimal boost coming out. You see Farah having to move all the way across field, but the way he hit that ball, he needed to actually be in front of it a little bit more so he could play it into the corner rather than straight back out.
He hit him at the side of his car.
He turned it and hit him in the nose as he was moving across, and it played perfectly into the middle of the field. Like, it was just a little bit off center. He needed to hit that into the corner with power so it either rolled up the wall or was just out of the way. He made it too easy for this team of Gale Force.
Okay, looking to get that one into the corner. Gale Force turning that 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 lead for themselves. Bluey is taking out Turbo Pulsar. K-Dop needs to get there first, and he will do due to the lack of challenge. Gale Force try and make this free now. Gonna have the opportunity to do so. Pushed over to the side. Lovely weight, but too much power on the pass. Means that Turbo Pulsar cannot do anything. That's one of those really awkward passes where it just loops around.
It seems to be both of these teams are getting a little bit overzealous with their touches. The players are taking this a little bit too individually, where rather than just letting it go off, like, you made the touch past the defender, it's going to hit that backward, just back off. Your teammate's going to be in there to rotate, and that can be easily fixed with some communication. Team players just need to call for it.
So, halfway line, less than 100 seconds left to play in game 2. Gale Force, if they can continue on this path, they will go to match point against Frontline. Bluey takes a tap. He's going to actually be forced to move Pharaoh in, and then there's Chaucet. He actually chose to back off that play, recognizing that he was going to commit to something that he could not win. Whilst that was good decision-making, it does mean that a chance that is well put together has gone amiss now for Frontline. Oh, very dangerous there from Chaucet. One good challenge away from being put out, but he did give himself enough angle to work with. And now Frontline still chasing, heading into the final minute.
Violent Panda able to knock Bluey off of that touch, but it doesn't matter. The rebuttal, shot on net. Turbo Pulsar with the crucial save to get back as that last rotation.
Such good rotations while using that backboard, using that back post, I should say. Just giving himself so many choices. He could have also pushed into the side, not allowing a rebound shot to come in. This Gale Force still holding on. And despite the chances on Frontline, they haven't really turned into anything too threatening for Gale Force. We've now just got 30 seconds left. That is actually a poor touch off the challenge. There's an opportunity. Ferris kept this one dangerous. Turbo Pulsar loops it, and that's going to slow down the pace on the ball, but still Bluey able to do something with it. Well, the rest of his team expecting to cut the ball out further away than he did. And there was no follow-up. Final 15 seconds, Frontline knocking on the door. They're getting closer every single time, but everyone has moved forward for this. And that will probably mean that they're going to have no more opportunities. Violent Panda putting up high. The rest of Turbo and Gale Force just need to put this one down. Actually, no, the follow-up just set has managed to take it. Gale Force made this way too difficult for themselves.
Gale Force playing too much defense the last 30 seconds. Everybody packing the box, but we've seen it time and time again. Eventually, defense will fall apart with pressure, and you see it there. Chaussette with that last second shot to bring him into overtime.
I think it goes all the way back to Violent Panda, but that could go the entire way. Violent Panda on that wall, getting a mistouch and just looping the ball rather than hitting it into the far side of his opponents. Gave Frontline the opportunity to retake possession, and now it's given them the opportunity to take game 2, as long as they can get this next goal. Bluey looking for that pressure. He's gonna have the opportunity to try and go for a challenge. K-Dop does win out. Now up high, here is Ferrer. For that backboard, it's going to be pushed away by Violent Panda, but does need the extra touch from K-Dop. Chaussette, only one boost. I don't know why you used it. You could have just used it as a token, really, because it barely makes any difference in those scenarios. As both these teams now going for that 2-1 rotation. There will be a hope and a prayer to not make any mistakes. Those sort of shots from the halfway line will not trouble, but it will give offensive pressure over to Gale Force. I'll have to give Frontline credit for this. They've done such a great job of playing it out every single time, not going for the individual plays, not trying to hit it hard anymore like they were in game number 1. Instead, using the walls or using each other to make it that much easier for themselves.
Yeah, the pace of this game has definitely changed in the favor of Frontline. Despite Gale Force putting on this unrelenting pressure, they've done a good job slowing it down, playing to their style a little bit more, even with the creativity of Bluey going for some of those demos earlier on.
We dropping straight down. Opportunity now for Chaussette. He's going to turn that in. 2 late goals for Chaussette. And Frontline have managed to take game number 2, and we are all tied up.
Again, it has to do with those 2 players cheating up. You see that pass inside, and then a good clear actually from Turbo Pulse. He hit that with power on the ground, no air options. But Chaussette just perfectly sitting there patiently waiting for him to be there and puts another shot in net. Chaussette coming out clutch that series.
Just was absolutely everywhere he needed to be, waited for the plays to happen around him, and then managed to get the goal. We're going to have a look at a replay here. Here's a touch from Turbo Pulsar, trying to look for Violent Panda, but could he just hit it? He had boost, he had position, and instead it opened up this. One mistake is all it takes, and Frontline take the goal.
I mean, it's difficult, too, for Violent Panda in that situation. He's rotating back to net. He's having to fight a player, and it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda moment. You know, do I bump the player? Do I get in his way? Do I just hit the ball in general? Like, what do I do? But still, Chaussette and the rest of the team, they placed that perfectly. The ball on that wall was able to get underneath it, so it pinched back inside, and then the touch. Turbo even got across from it. Doesn't matter. Chaussette puts the power on, so a lot of things going right for Frontline to secure that win.
Well, we're all tied up. The new boys certainly looking good. Bluey in his RLCS debut looking solid, but that game we're going to have to give it all over to Chaussette. Just good positioning, good third-man positioning, not choosing to sit back even during a crucial situation like that overtime. And he gets the reward for it.
You have to also give credit to Ferrer. For Ferrer to move up and make those touches and apply that pressure alone. I mean, that initial contest was right in front of the box of this Gale Force team, which pinched across. So everybody doing their job over here on Frontline to secure that victory. Actually screwed up my notes. I had Gale Force down, and then that last second one changed everything.
So, whilst Lawler tries to sort everything out, I will remind you all that these 2 teams are now all tied up. In a series that many predicted Gale Force to take the win in, Violent Panda will try and put that one off the post. And there is no follow-up. Well played there by Frontline to not panic too much and to play that ball really well. Turbo Pulsar actually might have got a nibble away at the defender, and K-Dop can come in for the open net.
You see Turbo actually play that inside, and he does. He gets underneath Ferrer, which pops him up too high. You see Ferrer at the last second there is actually facing down and boosting as much as he can to get in front of it. So again, another aerial bump in this game leading to a goal.
And it was K-Dop was the one that was bumped earlier on. Gets his revenge. Set now looks to try and play that one long. Farah is on that sidewall. It's a change that we've seen from a lot of players recently. Rather than sitting in the middle of the field, they go onto the walls. Makes them so much easier to aim for, makes it easier to react to whatever pass comes towards you. There's going to be another shot in Turbo Pulsar. The shot power and the accuracy on that one.
Turbo at the end of this showing a little bit of a bot cosplay after his teamwork in a very unconventional sense comes through, and then he just shows the wiggle of the bots.
Very nice.
Well done, Turbo.
Gotta be able to congratulate yourselves at times. Turbo Pulsar, I've met him. I'm sure he's very good at congratulating himself.
I wonder if he's rocking the shorts today.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, he wins every time he does.
Farah getting that one off the back wall. Violent Panda will have time to try and take the ball. Passes that one straight over to Turbo Pulsar. Now got himself time, but needed to get the flick up. Once that ball hits the floor, it could be very difficult to try and go for a dribble play. Set will take the shot on the open net. And it is bump central in here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, a player taken out.
Yeah, you see Farah come in through this, isn't able to get the initial touch, so he gets the boost and then sees what he can accomplish next. Gets the demo, leaves a wide open net, just opening up opportunities for this frontline team to keep it close. Scoreline has never been out of reach for either of these teams.
Nope, 2 goals being the best we've seen so far as an advantage. And very rarely has that 2-goal lead actually been used to go on for the win. Only the one time so far. It was actually 2 games played, so I am talking absolute rubbish. Set puts that one up, no one in net. That could go in, and it is going to go in off his follow-up. Gale Force looking shaky on the defense right now. Turbo Pulsar and Violent Panda. It's the gravity of knowing that you're going out of offense or going out of defense and moved out of position.
Also a little bit of overconfidence coming out from Gale Force too. They just don't seem to be respecting the defensive side from this frontline team. You see K-Dop when he touched that out, just soft touches, thinking he can make another one back inside. But this team of frontline waiting for him each time, able to counter it. Tied up again, 3:10 left in game number 3.
K-Dop now trying to look for the follow. Low boost, but he has managed to do pretty good with this. Violent Panda and the rest of Gale Force now will try and set up for the siege. Want to control those middle boosts and steal as many boosts on the side of frontline as possible. That is going to be a very difficult touch to deal with, but Farah, happy to see that Violent Panda wasn't rotating in quick enough. Still all tied up. Louis, that was not the best challenge. Going to put frontline on the back foot. As Keno can move in, it's going to be very late for anyone else to try and rotate, so putting that one up high and getting the demo was actually the best thing he could have done for that play. Hitting the halfway point in this game. Gale Force. Oh, wow. Turbo Pulsar now has his opportunity. Tries to go for the flick. Does not get it. Just couldn't control the ball after his original move.
No, exactly that. He made the right play as well, going to slow it down, and just that flick initially caught him off guard. Could not carry that momentum through in his touch. But frontline in a dangerous spot. Turbo coming in, trying to take another shot.
And that's a situation and a habit Bluey needs to get out of. The last couple of defensive touches he's taken have been put back into very difficult positions for the rest of his team, and in positions where Gale Force can move themselves in to take shots if they are in position. Needs to get them into the corner or boot it down to the other end of the field. That's pretty much the only safe positions you have in that scenario.
Couple of mistakes as well in rotation coming out from Gale Force. You saw Violent Panda challenging things that they just shouldn't, trying to force things to happen when they don't need to. He's got plenty of teammates behind him to help him out. Should just get back into rotation.
Everyone tried to fake that ball out just there, but still Gale Force on the offensive side. They've been here for the last minute. Another shot. K-Dop's actually managed to get 2 players up there to move. Turbo Pulsar tries to play for the block. Almost got it, but Farah gets enough of the bumper on the ball to prevent that block shot from going in. Heading into the final minute in frontline, starting to find some of their offensive chops.
Credit does have to go off to this frontline offense. The ability to transition downfield and immediately turn it into a shot opportunity. Set has always been kind of the quiet one for his team, but paying off for this roster.
Violent Panda gets off the backboard. We'll try and go for the follow-up as well. Farah not quite expecting that. Gale Force will go for siege number 2. Managed to hold it for an entire minute last time without any goal. for their effort as Chaussette gets it past one. Has he got any boost to try and get to that? No, he doesn't. The big demo there from Bluey. Everything was perfect there except the boost amount on Chaussette. And even then, there was still a player rotating back.
Can never mention enough boost determining pretty much every decision you make in this game. Obviously coupled in with positioning. That's all it took, just a little bit more boost. So we're down to the last 5 seconds.
2 players committed, but both of them landing on the wall means that they can recover in time. Final second. Well, I don't think either of these teams will actually allow that sport to go straight to the floor, but Chaussette's touch did not find the wall. And we are going to go into overtime. Winner of this will go up to match point.
Back-to-back overtimes. Last one ended in Frontline's favor.
Going off the side. Bluey wants to get the touch, puts that one for lofting sharp high. Look at the amount of boost K-Dop has got to use to try and get to that. He's going to have to try and find some more. Violent Panda is taking the one in the side as well. K-Dop kind of struggling around. They're going to have to hope that he's not needed. Violent Panda, big clear. As K-Dop has now decided to pick himself up some welfare, and he's going to do a lot of it. Goes for a looping shot. A laser beam in towards the side of the goal, but another lovely save from Chaussette, something we saw him do so often when he was playing for Red Eye back in Season 2. Now forced to bring that back out here, but Chaussette, yet again needed, not credited with a save. He deserves one.
The ability for Frontline to make those saves and then immediately team pass plays to make it out of their own end, forcing some of this offense from Gale Force to miss. Oh, Chaussette.
He's starting to pop off in this overtime. And Chaussette gets going. He is very dangerous indeed. Bluey is going to put that one up high. Has he got the boost to try and go for the second touch? He does indeed. It's not going to be too dangerous, but 2 players committed. K-Dop has recovered in a decent position. No Turbo Pulsar out of boost. Allows Farah to move it to the side. Violent Panda going to just try and keep this away, but Bluey has got it red. Good rotation so far from Frontline. They are not backing off. They continue to try and work their way through this Gale Force defense. Now Violent Panda puts that one on Turbo Pulsar. Big demo. Violent Panda now has to hit the double tap, and he does. Gale Force out of nowhere just show that if you give them an inch, they'll blow you up.
A lot of it had to do with that initial hit from Bluey as well. Playing that up and lofted in the midfield was up for anyone to grab. He was expecting one of his teammates to swoop in and help out, but doesn't matter. Violent Panda, one of the best at getting up in the air early and often, punishes this team. Gale Force back in and back on match point.
That was their first serious bit of offense in such a long time, and they make great use of it. Incredible demo. Gale Force hold out against Frontline. What a back and forth game that was.
12 shots as well in favor of Gale Force, and it didn't really feel like it. You have to give credit to this Frontline defense and offense, especially Chaussette. Chaussette has been all over the field, leading the charge for his team. He has another 2 goals, the only 2 goals for his team, and that's despite him being that defensive line. 4 saves in the favor of Chaussette, and those are after rockets of shots coming out from K-Dop and Turbo. They are putting him on net, and he's just stopping them. But 1 too short in this one.
It's been such a great series so far, and I really get the feeling that we are far from over. Match point now for Gale Force eSports, but they have had to work for every single one of these wins. Incredible, and we got to get in as quickly as possible, really.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the next one goes, and Frontline's been making it creative too. I mentioned how they were going kind of the direct approach. As soon as they got the ball on the other side, they played it inside, and a shot came out. It was getting too easy for Gale Force. They were to make typical saves and clear it back out. They're now starting to change it up. They're working in demos. They're playing it downfield very quickly and then attacking as a unit. But the way they're mixing it up is keeping this Gale Force team on their back heel, and that's not something we see Gale Force have to do often.
So when we start reaching the deeper ends of these series, mentality becomes more and more of a factor. For you, Lawler, who are the in-game leaders for these 2 teams?
Obviously, right now it has to be Chaussette. Mixed in a little bit with Bluey. Bluey's been creating opportunities with those demos and those bumps, and Farah could actually be mentioned that as well. Farah's been leading the charge a lot of these offensive plays. On the opposite end, you have to give it to K-Dop. The single pressure that he applies with those shots is forcing a defender out of the net every single time.
So we're going to be playing on Manfield Night for game number 4. Bluey going to force Violent Panda to do some work, and great touch there from him. And he's got K-Dop on that sidewall. Very quick on the changeover of Gale Force eSports.
Nice little bump to turn Chaussette around.
So Foster gets that one out, over to K-Dot, who puts that one up high. And a rocket launcher of a shot straight into the net.
All because this initial stop here from Turbo Pulsa. That was after the bump from Farah and Chaussette. Chaussette turned around, tried to clear it out, but Turbo read it immediately. Set up the play coming in from K-Dot.
Gale Force will be very happy to just sort of relax the tension in this series, pick themselves up a second goal.
I don't think they can relax with how this frontline team's been playing.
Certainly not. That's going to be going off the side of Bluey. Zero boost. Had to try and do whatever he could to get back, but was not needed. Here's Violent Panda. Flicks that one up high. As Bluey's going to have himself time, and he's got himself boost. Going to try and carry this the entire length of the pitch, and he does! Bluey, the human catapult.
For Bluey to sit and wait on that touch as well, normally you see this Gale Force team come in and contest that immediately. He waits for the ball to hit the ground, he lets it, pops it up, and then dribbles it all the way. He also rotates his car upside down to make sure that if he does get contested, it's still gonna pinch it. You see it pay off in the end. We're all tied up a minute into game number 4.
Did it multiple times last week. Proves it's not a fluke. Proves it is just part of his arsenal of moves. Bluey, the crucial tying goal. Now Chaussette will try and get them the advantage, and they are. Frontline, in no time at all, have retaken the lead.
All it takes is seconds. A subtle touch from Bluey again. Playing that down in a spot. Violent Panda's already rotating back. The player in defense can't move up in time, so Chaussette just puts a shot on net, and he gets a goal out of it.
And Chaussette's car position so tricky as well. The defender actually playing it as if the ball was going to come off the backboard for a pass. Instead, gets himself for the shot.
You're starting to see a lot of players do that as well. As they get more comfortable with these air roll shots, they're rotating the car to make sure they can get a sharper angle when they're moving across the way they want to shoot it. Really fantastic to see out of these players. But slowing down pace again from Frontline, really trying to get in this Gale Force team's head.
Farah now over to the side. Violent Panda will be happy to see that one rolling off the wall. Makes it so much easier to deal with. But Frontline have got their fangs out looking for offense, and Bluey out of nowhere tries to take the early shot, could not find the angle for it. Frontline find themselves trailing, but they will continue to press forward now with their opportunity to move. But just seems like they're a little bit panicked with the way they're playing, going for those backboards a little bit too often. And it is being read every single time.
Frontline also doing a phenomenal job when they are up on offense. You just saw Farah about 10 seconds ago get a double boost on eye until that K-Dop clear. You could tell they were lacking the pressure they wanted to put on.
Still dangerous. 2 players up for Gale Force. It's going to leave just Violent Panda by himself. Bluey could not pull that ball out as much as he wanted. He did have Farah up in support. They will try and go for the block, but that would be asking a little bit too much from him. As Gale Force still try and find themselves a way through. 2 minutes remaining in this 4th match. If Frontline can take this, we will head into a tie-breaking game number 5. Bluey's going to try and reach. Actually gets a lovely pass out to Farah. It's going to go off the backboard and launch down to the other end of the pitch. Chaussette called off the ball by Bluey, and another shot going to come in. Bluey can deal with that one off the backboard as well. The recoveries from both these teams so good. Every single time I feel like I'm calling out a double commit, it doesn't matter. They've automatically recovered. They're using the walls very well, and they haven't really been punished for it.
I mean, we talk about that all the time. You know, you don't want to double commit this and that, but as long as your teammates or someone, and you saw Bluey do it there, 4 consecutive touches on defense to clear that out and buy them some time. As long as you have a player you can trust back there to make those double commits worth it, you know, if you're going to contest it and try something a little bit risky, that's fine. You just need someone to buy that little bit extra time so you have the ability to get back. Bluey's been all over the field, and he's showing his value so much for this team.
Farah once again, just seems like he is mimicking where Bluey is, waiting for Bluey to cause a mistouch from the Gale Force defense and trying to follow it up. Now Gale Force with their opportunity on the offense. We've seen them go for demos. Here is now the pass out, but no one ready to run onto the ball. It's going to give Frontline a reprieve from their defensive zone. So Gale Force going to have to try and work it back up yet again. Bluey with the follow, going to get the block. Farah got turned around, so couldn't try and get a flick over to the side. Here's Chaussette with the follow-up. But for Frontline right now, the more time they spend in Gale Force's half, the better it is for them. as time ticks away. Okay, the bump on Chaussette actually allows him to go for the setup out of nowhere. Well played from him to try and figure out the position he was in. As Gale Force with their last opportunity. Farah, though, with the demo on Violent Panda, leaves only 2 players remaining, saying, we know you won the 2v2 Invitational, but how good is your 2's gameplay when you've got no time remaining against our defense? And we're going to head into game number 5, the first of this season.
The big difference as well between these two teams, and you saw it at the end. Frontline up by 1, what do? They keep applying that pressure, and a lot of it has to do with the ability of Blue. You saw it with his air dribble that he was able to get into, where he just took it into his own hands. The ability, you're going to see it again here, the ability for him to bring it all the way downfield, make all 3 players respect it, and even if they do go up to contest it, it doesn't matter.
Something that you can only really do from this position as well, with everyone rotating back on Gale Force. If there is someone on the Gale Force defensive line, they can go up and challenge it. They can just wait for this moment right here and then they move forward. But unfortunately, because everyone's going back, you've got to come in from a side angle. Automatically means that you're in a losing position against Bluey's challenge, and basically Bluey read the situation perfectly.
No, the Frontline team has done a phenomenal job in 2 major senses. One, they're transitioning downfield. As soon as they see an opportunity, they're very lack of hesitation in that sense. Where as soon as the ball's in their zone, like whether it be infield pass plays, the very subtle ones to just pass it past one defender and then get it downfield, or in the sense of just a long clear coming out from Chaussette or whoever, it's really paying off. The second thing is when they are up on top, they're not relieving pressure. They are still contesting on that side, and it's just leading to it. We saw in game 1 from Gale Force that they almost lost. They did the opposite. They're like, all right, there's only 30 seconds left. We just got to hold off on defense. And it allowed, or no, that was game 2, where Chaussette was able to contest them, tied up, and then get the win in the end.
So let's break this tie, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, Frontline could be on the verge of a huge upset, taking down one of the off-season's biggest performing teams. They have a very good opportunity to do that, taking the early part of the pressure. Here comes K-Dot, pushing that down over to the side. Farah has been pulled out from position. It's going to allow Turbopulsar to move himself straight in. Cannot afford mistakes like that. It will invite Gale Force in to do as much damage as they can. Farah, he knows how to perform in these clutch scenarios. The clip of the season, when he was playing for the Leftovers against Flipside Tactics. Frontline would certainly not mind if he was able to pull something off like that yet again. As the aforementioned man is now on control of the ball with the flicker, but there will be no follow-up due to the large angle that would have been required. The Frontline controlling the offense for the opening minute of this game, but Gale Force not really challenging too hard, just allowing the play to happen around them, not making any mistakes.
Good job by K-Dop as well, single-handedly bringing that one downfield and then backing off for the rotating Violent Panda, who had a better touch. But Bluey yet again not giving up on those demos, allowing them to stop that rotation and change possession over in their favor.
Bluey was not close enough to the ball to try and get a block. With games at this pace, 1 goal could be all it takes. It's now Bluey looking for the demo in the background. Farah goes for the shot, and he's actually managed to take out K-Dop. Such a pain to try and deal with.
Again, a Bluey being a nuisance. He wins that 50-50 to kill it in the midfield, and then even though he's over-rotating against K-Dop, who reads it well, he then uses that second jump delayed to bounce back into K-Dop and get tangled up. Bluey, you're a pain in everybody's butt, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Now K-Dop off that back wall. Gale Force will look to spring back into life. Here's Violent Panda, misses the shot. Turbopulsar puts it up high off the crossbar. And now Bluey will look for a block. K-Dop knows he's got time, but Gale Force showing that they are not to be put out just yet. Violent Panda actually mishits that. Farah can now turn around in the air roll. Aerial, as here's Violent Panda looking for the tap down. Complete and full rotations coming out from Frontline will make this a lot more difficult for Gale Force to try and break through. It is the nightmare start for the team that many people had pegged down to go on to win this and maybe go on to win the entire season. There is going to be a big block. Here's the follow-up. Bluey once again gets in the way. Now he's got an opportunity to go down to the other end of the field, but does get blocked. Gale Force be asking for a transfer at this rate.
If you do not know this boy's name, learn it. Bluey is all over the field, offense, defense, it does not matter. And he is making so many problems arise for this team that we've considered pretty much one of the best in the world, especially with their performances in the offseason.
Bluey with the tap up. That's actually going to lay it up for Violent Panda, who goes for the pass in the midfield. 2 players committed. Ferrer is actually in a very poor position, but can pull himself back out. Gale Force really struggling to pull the ball into a very good shooting position. And when they have, it has been blocked in sublime fashion. Chaussette can now try and go for the transfer. Bluey trying to get himself downfield. Now K-Up by himself, but he can do well with this. Gets it across, takes down one player, almost managed to take it past Bluey with yet another big block, but the shot comes in and Chaussette is in the way. Turbo Pulsar with the next follow-up, but Bluey is there just in time. What do Gale Force have to do to take down what is a wall of defense? And then it's the open goal, Ferrer! 2-0, Frontline.
Again, this huge transition downfield, a beautiful pinch coming out from Chaussette, up high and over the top of Violent Panda, and then the follow-up. Frontline makes it too easy.
Wow. Frontline have the opportunity right now in the second game of the European season to blow everything wide open. And Gale Force have to react. Here comes Violent Panda, looks to try and turn that in. It might just do it, but no. Bluey pushes it over to the side, over to Chaussette, who has still got danger around. 2 players committed. 60 seconds remaining now. And Gale Force find themselves trailing by 2 goals. K-Up, lovely pass straight out. Violent Panda gets blocked by Bluey yet again.
That's just right place at the right time. Bluey missed that spider clear, but still followed through, able to drop down and kill that one out. But Gale Force definitely picking up the pace. They know they have to score.
Final 35 seconds. Gale Force looking frantic in the way they are trying to set plays up. Violent Panda flicks it on, looks for a second touch. It's going to be open. Here comes Turbo Pulsar off that backboard. Yet again, there is no one in position to try and follow these things up. Here comes K-Dop. They're playing off the backboard plenty of times, but where is the final shot, Gale Force? That is what they need. As we head into the final 12 seconds, this now has to work because they've still got a kickoff to try and deal with as well. Turbo Pulsar cannot hit it with the front of his car. Looks for the pass straight out to K-Dop, but there is the block. And it is going to be Frontline, the new boys to the RLCS, taking over, and Bluey, welcome.
I can't believe they did it after all of that, but credit goes to the way they control that game. You saw it at the end. So many shots coming from Gale Force, but the positioning has been off on every single one. No one was able to take a real touch on it and put an accurate shot. It was always forced. It was always rotating at the last second, just trying to apply pressure, when in reality, they just need to take their patience and get in an actual position where they can put a real shot on net. We saw that pressure that was applied from K-Dop earlier on in the series, and at the end, Frontline just kept them pretty much pitted into something they didn't want to do. It was Frontline high. You guys are insane.
They are absolutely incredible. And I'm actually going to put this one out now. Surveys that I put out, 84% said Gale Force would go on to win this match. But no, it is Frontline that have taken their first victory of the season in the first game 5 of the season. What an incredible match. It's been our pleasure to bring it to you. But now we're going to hand it back over to Axel Toss and the desk.
What an awesome series. I don't even know where to start with that one. Gale Force falling to Frontline in a match that went all the way to 5 games. We saw overtimes in there, and I have to echo what they're saying, guys. Bluey, I think, was the name that everyone's going to be saying now after that match. It seemed like he was everywhere on the field making ridiculous plays. From that, I think it was game number 2 where he launched himself in the air, and I think he knocked Violent Panda out of the way to let a goal in. It just all over the field, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of these highlights from Bluey in this Mobile One High Performance replay. Let's check it out. Frontline with a 3-2 victory over Gale Force.
And Bluey might be making a case for back-to-back player of the week that I don't think we've ever seen before in the RLCS. He was literally everywhere. The only place he wasn't was probably on the defensive end, but this play right here was the difference maker in the entire series. Turbo hit that weak to keep it alive. The ball bounced barely with 1 second left on the clock. Chaussette scores at 0 seconds from an amazing Bluey pass, by the way, and then Ferrer plus Chaussette right there combo it in to score that overtime winner. And then after that, it looked like Gale Force was on that back foot. We saw in game 2 as well with Frontline, they shot 12 shots to 6. And when you can outshoot maybe the best team in the world, that's looking pretty good.
It really feels like the gaps are closing. It used to just be we'd see our two titans in each region, and we just look at them and say, hey, you're not going to be able to beat them, good luck. But now it doesn't matter what seed you're coming in, how good you are. All the players and all the diversity and skill are really starting to show. And it doesn't matter what seed you come in, because you are still probably a pro player that's been around for a year and a half, 2 years, you know, maybe a SARP vet, maybe even longer, maybe you're Gibbs, who plays for 7 years and still sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
And the jokes, though, the jokes are getting better and better.
The jokes, they don't. But either way,
I cost them the win.
I'm loving seeing this gap close. Like, now it's a toss-up every series.
It's great.
You saw us. We all thought Gale Force. It was just, are they beatable? You know, it didn't feel like they were, but now we see kind of a newcomer team as far as to the RLCS stage, and they just came out kicking.
And again, to echo that even more, I got a question on Twitter, actually. Someone was asking who's the oldest and youngest players in RLCS, and it's a good question. The youngest is 15 years old, and we just saw him, Bluey, youngest player in RLCS. I'm not sure exactly if he's tied, if anyone else is 15. He might be the only one. The oldest is Chrome at 24 years old. So a little bit of stats there for you, but I love the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, in these games that we're watching, right, it's the same 6 cars on the same pitch that you would play on at home. And Bluey's just a guy, he's 15 years old, he's coming in. It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever saw The Big Green or one of those movies where it's a big, you know, David versus Goliath situation. Bluey just comes on in, 15 years old, he's like, all right, whatever, we have the same car, we have the same ability to do the same things. I'm just gonna do my thing. And that's exactly what he did. And I feel like that's a huge part of Frontline's victory, and it's just so awesome to watch.
Plus Game 5, of course, Farrah comes out with the 2 goals in Game 5.
Right.
The clutch player from last season on the leftovers. Like, he loves Game 5. It seemed like every series he had a Game 5, so he comes out with the 2 big goals there. And then who would have thought that the team with a player named Bluey would be the first orange team to win in RLCS?
Why do you pay attention
They're
to things?
6-0.
Of course.
Why do you even know
Because
that?
it's the first upset.
That's the first thing he
It's
mentioned this morning.
upset.
I
like,
suppose.
Hey,
I mean, I think a big thing for Farrah, too, is, and you notice that when he got to LAN, is actually when it seemed like he was more energetic. Like, that's when all the pressure's on, and that's when Farrah started to wake up. And not that he was asleep during the season, I should say, but that's when he really was like, every time something happened, he was like the guy to stand up out of the chair. He was the guy to go nuts. He requested an interview. I think he's the only one to request, like, I want to talk. Like, he to see him come alive in a situation where most players start to cave in, I think that's going to be huge for him moving forward.
And I wanted to bring this up. I was going to bring it up before the last match, but I'll just say now, we do our picks before the stream starts, right? So we already have our picks in for the rest of the matches. One thing in particular, especially in regards to Frontline and Farrah, if we remember correctly, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, as far as Farrah being on the leftovers last seson, what was their first week?
Yeah, it was Flipside Northern.
Flipside,
5 games.
Right. Flipside, Farrah is on the leftovers last season, going up against Flipside and Northern Gaming in week 1, who are considered the top 2 teams in the region by a lot. And then the leftovers comes through and actually, I think, reverse sweeps both of those matches to win and go 2-0 in week 1. And that was last season. So this is Farrah again on another underdog team in Frontline, going up against the #1 seed. A lot of people are saying Gale Force, taking a victory here. And that was going to be my justification for picking Frontline against Mocket, because I did pick Frontline against Mocket, which is happening later. Just an interesting little storyline there of all the different things and just the crazy things that could happen in the RLCS. I don't know.
Plus, it just shows that like all these teams in Europe are so close. We saw it last year. Mocket, they came in as the 5th seed, I believe, and they won the entire tournament for Europe. So it could happen again here, where like it seems like Gale Force may be playing a Mocket role, where I thought Mocket was going to be that #1 team throughout the season. Then they come through in the playoffs. Gale Force is a really close game, and they will bounce back, I think. So like I could still see them as a top 2 team.
Absolutely.
But they definitely have to bounce back. They have another game later, so they can't let this loss bring them 2 down. Because the problem is, if you have a bad day, you want it on when you're only playing 1 game. Problem is, if you have a bad day and you're playing 2 games, then that's 2 out of your 7 gone. So they have to bounce back quickly.
Well, awesome series there from Frontline. Definitely turning a lot of heads. Already starting the surprises here in RLCS. Gale Force starting out league play 0-1. Gale Force will be back a little bit later. They're in our 4th match playing against Aeriality. Frontline is also playing later today against Mocket. That's going to be the last match of the day. But coming up for you right now, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, it's going to be Envy, your defending world champions, playing as Northern Gaming previously. Now they are Envy, going up against Method, who we saw play earlier today. That's coming up next. We'll take a short break here from the RLCS. Stay tuned.